we'll be using our Hakey brush. I'm using a number 12 round, a 10 round. We will be using our sponge. I did use some of my masking fluid. Colors are cerulean blue chromium, French ultramarine, phthalo blue green shade. I'm using permanent rose, or you can use carmine, or alizarin crimson, raw sienna, or yellow ochre, whichever you like. I did use pyro scarlet and some burnt sienna. The area that I used my masking fluid in is just to save the roofs of the houses and just a couple little highlights down here on the rocks. I'm going to start by wetting the sky area right across. So here are the mountains. There's a very faint line. The tree is here. I will put in a blank area here for the clouds, which will be painted in later, but I do want the blue to come across behind the tree. So first, with my damp Hakey brush, I'm going to go in and moisten the area, stopping at the mountain range. I am wetting the area that will have the clouds, but I won't bring my blue into that area. I'll just have it be soft. It will flood into the area, but I won't paint on the area. That's why I'm wetting the whole area. Probably, I'll leave the canvas or the paper flat for the time being. I am using the visual journal paper. I did make it a little bit smaller just so I could put the color mixes over on the side for you. I will paint them on the side paper, but I'll pencil them in after at the end of the video. Pull out my cerulean blue chromium. Now, as I mentioned before, skies can be too light, but we really don't want them too dark. We do want a good amount of color on the brush. So here we go. I'm just kind of looking up at the cloud shape. Try and bring that color all the way across. I'm just going to pick the paper up so I don't get it on the other sheets below it. Once again, so I noticed that down here is already dry, so I'm going to go back with my clear water. Because I did want to bring some of that blue down by the lower hills here and then once again across. But I guess I just didn't wet it enough in this area. I went back into the water and pulled out a little bit of color on the brush. And that's the second color softening with a little water into the Hakey brush. Once again, got that line kind of set up. And since I put the mascoid on here, I will have to stop and wait for this to dry. Well, actually, what I could do is the next light area, and I will be using my, just for everyone who likes the yellow ochre, I will be using my number 12 brush. I'm going to make a watery wash of yellow ochre. I'm going to make a wash of yellow ochre and some burnt sienna. And then I'm also going to make a yellow green. So that would be, oh, I didn't show you, but it would be the Hansa yellow and the cerulean blue chromium. And that's just going to be for the a little bit of the moss that's on the rocks here and there. My clear water brush is coming out, and I'm going to start over here and just wet a few areas just so I get some soft and hard area lines. You know, the rocks don't have to be a specific color as you see them. So I'm leaving some open spots for some hard edges and some dropping color in for some soft edges. I'll do that in a little bit. Picking up a little more of the ochre, dropping it in areas, going in with my wet clear water brush. And the rocks don't have to be the same shape. You might want to look for some light areas and leave some light areas. Softening. There's a light area right here and a light area right here. So I'm going to leave a void here, kind of reminding myself where those light areas are. A little more. And this is also, you can think about it as helping you create a little roadmap of where you see colors getting darker. I'm going to go in and start setting in some of my shadow sides just with the burnt sienna a little bit. And remember, this will have some areas where greenery will be coming up. Kind of looking at some of the rock shapes as I get closer in here. And then I'm going to clean my brush out, kind of get it a little damp, and then take some moisture out. More moisture out. Larger brush than I'm used to for little areas. Maybe just a smidgen more yellow. Just trying to create some different color transitions. I actually do go back into these rocks with the blues and everything, but I thought we would lead with the lightest colors first. I'm just dropping in a little bit of blue down in the bottom from the cerulean blue chromium mix. Kind of reminding myself that these would be the shadow sides. So let's see how the sky is doing. Got a little thread up there. It's pretty dry. It's drier. Just thinking. Okay, I think what we'll do is going to mix the yellow-green area, because that's your next lightest area, and we're going to put it in, and that again will be a mix of your Hansa yellow and your cerulean blue. Let's see, oh yeah, I didn't give you color swatches. Let's get those color swatches in. So then I went with yellow ochre, and I went with some watery burnt sienna, and then I did some mossy color. There we go. Okay, and I'm starting to mix my large field of grass. Now, one thing I know I've mentioned in some of the handouts, that you can mix a yellow-green, but to dull it down, you would use a red, and that's where I'm using the Pyrrole Scarlet. So first I'm going to make the near yellow-green, which I want to be brighter, and this yellow-green will be having the scarlet in it, and it will be duller because it's going away from us, and we want to dull it down. Let's just let me see how that looks. My sample paper out. Okay, so this is the bright green grass. You can also use a little ochre, but I really do prefer a little bit of a red because the ochre doesn't quite dull it down the way the scarlet will. Just a touch of scarlet. Okay. So since I have that on the brush, and I'm looking at this, so we will put in a darker field behind it. So the main thing is coming up to this little rock wall, and I just want a little up and down action, and I want it to go under the tree a little bit. There's the tree, and I want it to be a V shape, so something like that. And you're done for that. I'm going to rinse out my brush, and then I'm going to go back to the lighter yellow that I had made, and I'm going to make more of it. because it has to go in this whole field section. I am doing this wet on dry. If you want to do wet on wet, it will just, you need a darker mix so that it doesn't become too faint in color or mellow in color. So I'm going up behind the house because I see the wall there, and there will be bushes there, so I'm not too concerned about it. I am using the number 12 and coming down. I'm just going to come into the wall, and I'm just going to keep on going back and forth so this doesn't dry too fast. And since it's a field of grass, we're not going to get too concerned about it. It doesn't have to be overly, and we do want it to go out behind where the tree is. You can go back over your areas if they are drying a little bit. Let's see what I can do about that. Just edging around the rocks. There will be grasses coming up from behind the rocks. Getting the color just to move a little bit. It did get dry. And then there is a little wall, and there is some greenery in here. I actually decided not to paint the wall. And I'm going to let it dry. Okay, so this is dry up here. And what I think we'll do is I think we'll do the sponging now. So we'll be sponging this tree and then this tree. And we'll be doing them both at the same time. So for that, I'm going to stop this for a second, and I'm going to go in and mark those colors that I've done.